Hey everybody, I wanted to share with you all what it was like going through an IUI process. We did in September of 2011, which would have been last year, not too long ago. We, excuse me, I started my period the very first week of September, probably like the 3rd or the 4th. So I called my doctor at my RE office, RE being reproduction endocrinologist, basically my fertility doctor. So I called her and I let her know that it was cycle day 1. So she set me up for a baseline ultrasound, and I went in on my baseline ultrasound on the 3rd day, probably like the 6th or the 7th, and they looked at my uterus and they looked at the lining of my uterus to make sure that it was thick enough to support a pregnancy, and it was fine. She could still see that the left side of my ovary and fallopian tube and all of that there was still something going on there after surgery. So it looks like probably maybe the cyst is coming back or that the tube is blocked up again, which if the tube is blocked again, we're fine with that, because then that means that we have a less likely chance of getting a pregnancy through that side, so less likely chance of having an ectopic pregnancy. So I'm fine with that. I don't care if that side's blocked up, whatever. So anyway, so baseline ultrasound is good. I go ahead and I get my prescription for the letrozole, and I begin taking that on, I think it was day 3. Yeah, probably the same day as my baseline ultrasound. So I take the letrozole, I take two pills a day, and I take it for, I think it was like 3 or 5 days. I can't remember. I can't remember because I'm thinking of Clomid also when I did Clomid. So I did the letrozole, and it made me feel emotional, and I had hot flashes and pretty much everything that I felt when I took Clomid, except maybe a little less intense, except for the emotional part. Letrozole made me a mess. It made me a baby. I was always crying. I cried at everything. I think it even made Josh emotional being in the same room with me. So the letrozole was good though, but I could feel like when I took Clomid and I took letrozole, with letrozole, like for like the week leading up to me ovulating, I could feel everything. Like everything was so swollen. My ovaries were huge with eggs. I could feel it. When I took Clomid, I never felt that. Like, I never felt that discomfort of my ovaries and stuff like that. But this, on the letrozole, I could. Like, I could tell that I was about to ovulate. Like, my body was telling me. So anyways, I did the letrozole, and I started on day 10. I started to pee on the ovulation predictor strips. So they call those OPKs. So I started to pee on those and got perfect timing. Called my doctor when we had the pink line. She told us to wait a day, and we would go in on that Tuesday morning. I think it was like the 13th. It was the 13th of September. So we were scheduled to go in that morning and have the actual IUI done. So we had to, abstain from sex the night before, which we did. And Josh goes in that morning to the arts lab to give his sample. And then he comes home and picks me up, and then we go back to the fertility office, back to the arts office, pick up the sample, and then go back down to the fertility office, and we sit in the waiting room. And mind you, all this time we are bickering and arguing and fighting. It was the most unbelievable thing in the world. I think it was because of letrozole and emotions and everything, but we were so emotional together. It was so emotional. It had been leading up, and we were just so stressed out, and we were just not really meshing well together at the time. If you'd have looked at us, you'd have been like, are these people really wanting a child? I felt so, and because I was upset and I was emotional, I was crying even more because I didn't really have a lot of control because of the medicine, so we were a mess. But anyways, we go in, we see the doctor, and she's, excited for us, and we're excited with her. I have a really good relationship with her, so it's very comforting when we're in a room with her, unless it's bad stuff happening. So I get ready, I get on the table, and she's got the little bag of stuff, and she asked Josh, do you want to do the injection? He's like, yeah. So he gets up and gets it ready, and he does the injection. And so after that, we left, and I can't tell you how relieving it felt when we finally left the office. All the emotions that we'd felt the days before leading up, and all the kind of like intense discussions we were having about just everything washed away at that moment, and we felt this weight lift off of our shoulders. We really did. I mean, it was kind of amazing, the feeling, and we were so excited and just so positive that it was going to work. So we did the IUI. We come home, we let our family know, okay, it's done. Now we have to wait. So the 2-week wait it wasn't that bad, honestly. It wasn't that bad. It was kind of unfortunate. Josh's papa was passing away in Louisiana, so we got the call from his mom, and we packed our bags and left. It was time, and we had to say our goodbyes. So we went down to Louisiana, and so that kind of really distracted me, and I didn't really have time to sit around and think, oh God, we have like 8 more days until we find out if it worked. And I was really distracted, so I was kind of grateful for that. And not for the situation that was happening, but I was grateful that I wasn't obsessing about it. So we drove to Louisiana. We were there for several days. Josh's birthday was that Tuesday, September 27th. And that was exactly 2 weeks from the IUI. So I wanted to take a pregnancy test that day just to see, and I had kind of had little feelings like I was pregnant. I blogged about it. I also have a blog, so I had blogged about it. I'm not going to go into severe detail here, but I kind of had a feeling in the depths of me. I thought maybe it had worked. So on Josh's birthday, Tuesday morning, the day that we're leaving to go back home, I get up really early and I take the test, and fucking A, it's positive. I couldn't believe it. We were completely shocked, just completely in disbelief that it worked. And I was so happy. I mean, just internally, I felt like I was floating. I felt like I was floating on the air. Josh was really happy, and I could tell that I think a little bit of nervousness kind of took over him at that moment, because I think he was thinking of what if and what could happen, where I wasn't. I was just like, I'm pregnant. I was just so happy. I mean, after 6 years of, the first half of those 6 years, we weren't like trying hardcore with a specialist, but we were trying. And so it's been a long wait. So anyway, we go to Josh's mom's that morning at his mama's house to say our last goodbyes to his papa. And we tell his mom and his sister and his aunt. And we're just over the moon, so excited that we're pregnant. So, and then of course on the way home, I texted my sister-in-law. We kind of just maintain it to our closest family members, the ones that knew that we were doing the IUI. Didn't really spread the word like too much, just in case something happened, because I'd had a miscarriage before, and we didn't want to get our hopes up like that and wind up feeling so hurt in the end. So yes, we had our very first IUI, intrauterine insemination, paired with letrozole, and it worked. I mean, completely it worked. I just could not believe it. I have stage 4 endometriosis. My husband has kind of low morphology, and it worked for us. It did work up until a point. So my next video is going to be about that. I did have a miscarriage in November, so I'll talk about that in my next video. Anyways, thanks for sharing, or thanks for following along, and any of you that are out there doing an IUI, just, when you finally do it, you're going to feel so much better. So if you're about to do one and you're feeling stressed, just know that, if it works, it's going to work. So, anyways, thanks for following along on this video, and I look forward to talking to you in the next one. Bye.